Modern monetary theory and its supporters make a simple but powerful observation. It is that countries that issue their own currency, like the United States, the UK, or Japan, can never run out of money in the way that a household or business could. That's because they don't need to earn dollars or borrow yen to spend them. They can just print them. That's different from Eurozone countries, which gave up control over their own currencies, or developing nations that borrow in dollars. Monetary sovereigns can always pay for things in their own money, and from this, MMT builds a radically different way of thinking about public finance. Under MMT, taxes don't fund spending. Governments don't need to collect money before they spend it. They can spend first and tax later. The purpose of taxation in this view is not to raise revenue, but to manage inflation, influence behaviour, and to ensure that there is a reason to hold the national currency. Budget deficits? Not a problem. In fact, they're often necessary. When the government runs a deficit, it's injecting more money into the economy than it's taking out. That extra money supports private sector savings and can help boost demand, especially during recessions. Public debt? That's just the sum of all the past deficits. From an MMT perspective, government bonds are basically interest-bearing savings accounts for the private sector, not something to panic about or pay back in the conventional sense. So what does constrain government spending? Well, it's inflation. That's the red line. If the government pumps too much money into an economy that's already running at full speed, where every worker is employed, every factory is busy, then prices will start rising. And that's when policy needs to cool things down. This is where MMT parts ways with the current system, not in denying the risks of inflation, but in how it should be controlled. Today, independent central banks raise or lower interest rates to keep prices stable. MMT supporters agree that inflation must be kept in check, but it puts fiscal policy in the driver's seat, with the central bank relegated to a supporting role. Instead of setting policy, it would carry out instructions from the government. And that shift, from technocratic independence to political control, is what worries many economists. MMT places its trust in elected officials to manage inflation through spending and taxation, rather than relying on unelected central bankers. But that trust comes with risk. Because when inflation control becomes a political responsibility, it runs into political incentives. Governments facing elections often prioritize growth, jobs, and popularity over price stability. And once inflation takes hold, history has shown us that it's much harder to bring back down. There's another problem too: using taxes instead of interest rates to control inflation. You see, interest rates affect everyone who borrows or saves, making them a broad and relatively neutral tool for managing inflation. Taxes, by contrast, must be aimed at specific groups, which can be politically toxic. Worse still, unpredictable tax policy is terrible for business confidence and long-term investment. A foreign company considering building a factory isn't just looking at today's tax rate. It's weighing the risk that an MMT-style government might hike corporate taxes, or even target foreign investors down the line. Faced with that uncertainty, the company is likely to take its investments somewhere more predictable. Then there's the claim that a government can never go bust. Technically, that's true, but it can still default in real terms, by paying its debts back in inflated money that's worth a lot less. Yes, it's true that the debt gets paid, but the investor gets shortchanged. So while government bonds may be called assets, if they're repaid in devalued currency, then they're not exactly high-quality assets. In the end, MMT challenges the way we think about deficits, debt, and the role of government. It offers a new perspective and forces us to ask whether our obsession with balancing budgets has sometimes come at the cost of jobs, growth, and progress. But while the theory may be sound in principle, it rests on a fragile foundation: political discipline. And relying on politicians doing what is good for the long term is just naive. Agreed, central banks aren't perfect. But when it comes to keeping inflation under control, experience shows us that an independent institution focused on a single mandate is a safer bet than elected officials juggling their priorities of growth, popularity, and the next election. There should be a link for the next video showing now. Just click to keep watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for watching.